All right. So today we're about to talk about the four things that allow us to scale $30 million in revenue. And most business owners will hear them and they will do absolutely nothing about them. And you know what? That's fine. Go
And the
ahead.
funny thing is, anytime we talk to clients or other business owners, and they truly believe that they're doing all of these four things, but whenever we see their processes, we see their systems, they're doing it absolutely wrong.
We're dead wrong. And that's probably why, well, it's definitely why your competitors are going to eat your lunch like a million percent.
Yeah. So, welcome to BizMeds. We are your hosts and neuroscience business coaches. My name is Saad.
And my name is Darius. And today we are going to be revealing the four neuroscience triggers that are going to allow you to like more than double your income. And it's not about working more hours, working harder, hiring more people, or anything like that, and not spending more money.
Mhm.
So let's dive in. And so by the end of today's episode, you are going to understand why you actually end up probably sabotaging your success more than you really realize that you are, and more importantly, how to not do that anymore.
Mhm. So, let's start off by talking about the productivity in general and the paradox around it, and how most people don't understand why their productivity is actually broken.
Yeah, I mean it is broken because the most common belief is we see this is the common thing we come up against all the time is that people innately believe because of the way they've been brought up is that like putting in more hours and working harder gives you more results. But if you are working incorrectly, you're doing the wrong work and focusing on the wrong things, like you're never going to get there. And the reason, like when we scaled 30 million in revenue, it wasn't by working, like we did it working few hours, not hiring more people, and things like that, because we learned, or I learned how to specifically not fight my biology, but learn how your brain actually works and work with it,
Mhm.
and how your body and your whole biology can work to support you. So, um, what that does, and when I say that, it's actually um, we're talking about this neurological state that can turn you into a kind of like a super performance machine.
Machine.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, it sounds kind of funny, but that's really what it is. And that neurological state is, it kind of like time disappears. We talk about it all the time. It's flow state. And when you get into flow state, like your productivity and your creativity, like it's not like just little performance increase. We're talking like 5 to 700% increase in that, and completely blows the doors off everything.
Yeah, and the shitty thing about that is like the people that are the grinders that just feel like they can just outwork any problem. They don't understand that you can't just this is not one of those things where you just try hard to get into it. There are some specific formulas that you need to follow to be able to get into the flow
Yeah,
state.
for a visual on that, it's your business is the equivalent of Ferrari, of having a Ferrari, and you are ripping around in first gear. And these four triggers, the neurological neuroscience triggers, are the things that allow you to finally put that Ferrari in sixth gear, but not in the city. It's you're gonna take that bad boy out on the Autobahn and you're going to rip full speed and get there a lot faster.
Exactly.
So let's dive in. So what are the four triggers we're gonna talk about? Well, the first one is really around
Setting clear goals.
and the reason why is because your goals are probably garbage. They're why you're not in flow.
Yeah. So most people think that setting goals means like, oh, I want to grow my business or I really want to increase my revenue. And, as good as those sound, those are very vague goals. And having vague goals equals to vague results.
Yeah, like flow requires laser specific outcomes, and it's not fix the delivery problem, or it's more around like design the automated client onboarding sequence that reduces delivery time from 3 weeks to 3 days, and then this series of very specific actions underneath it. Like that is the laser focused outcome that you need to have to get into deep flow.
Mhm.
And so it's funny because I literally just sat down with a good friend of mine, Chris, last night, who owns an aviation company, and we were talking about specifically one of the challenges that he was having around getting into like a real deep flow state. And as we dove in, it was, he's creating a lot of his flight operations manuals and things like that. It's like, it's a lot of tedious work, but it is very highly leveraged because this is really important stuff. And having the trouble of feeling really focused and things like that. And so as we dove in, we understood, actually I was able to diagnose with him that, oh, your clear goals, or your goals for your deep work sessions, your flow blocks, are just not clear enough. And they're not dialed down to where you have a laser focused outcome in a specific time. And without that, you're never going to you'll feel like you're in struggle phase all the time with that. And you need to break through that to be able to do that.
Mhm. Yeah. And, just again, building off of that is the more vague your goal is, the more vague your result's going to be. Take your kind of regular goal that a lot of people have is like, I want to be better. Well, what does better mean? So, when you don't have specific goals, you'll never be able to get into the flow state.
Yeah. So the minimum effective dose for this one is really the next time you either do a deep work block or whatever it is, you're going to focus on something, you need to really get good at getting better at becoming and creating a laser focused output, and essentially build a checklist of all the things that need to be done to accomplish that.
Mhm.
Success is a checklist, and like a high performance success is just literally an execution checklist. That's how clear that has to be. And I think it's not like what um it's not a vague kind of statement.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would beat that to death because it's so important that you have to be really, really crystal clear on what all those things are. And once you have that, like you will go into flow much deeper than you ever have before.
Exactly. And then, so branching into the second trigger, it is what we've talked about this before, is the skill to challenge ratio. So what that basically means is like, if it's something that you've done 1,000 times and it's natural to you, it's just going to be easy. You're not going to grow doing the same thing over and over again. Now, if it feels the opposite, is like, if it's absolutely impossible, you've never done it before, you're not going to flow
Yeah.
into it just because it's so out of your league.
Yeah. This is I think probably one of the least understood of the flow triggers, or people don't really think about this because they don't know about it. And when something is too easy, you become bored. And so there's not enough challenge in it for your skill. And so you just get bored. It's like there's not really a big deal doing it, right? Then the opposite, people then go to the opposite where it becomes too hard, so it becomes overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know how to move forward. So you're stuck in a struggle phase. You can't get into flow because it is too, like, that balance isn't. And the sweet spot actually in the research is on average about 4 to 6%. Like, it's not massive. It's not like you have to go in and suddenly you're challenging yourself so far beyond. It's literally only 4 to 6%. Like, that is your ideal kind of challenge skill. Like, for your skill level, the challenge should only be 4 to 6% more.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to go back. I know I've told this story before, but we have people that, for you that has never listened to us before. When even to this day, when I go snowboarding, it's the skill development. It When I first started, it might have been, oh, today I'm just gonna focus on using my back edge. Okay, cool. Like that, for that skill level, that is a 4 to 6% increase in challenge for me. Okay, cool. Once I get that down, all right, then okay, I've acquired that kind of skill level. I need to increase it again. Okay, I'm now going to work on my front edge. And then it's going to, proceed to, I'm going to now transition from back edge to front edge to back edge. And then I'm going to learn how to do that while I'm snowboarding and transitioning in a way that, and I'm not going to go at the first gate and, I've gone out snowboarding 2 times, like, oh, I'm going to go hit this jump
Mm-hmm.
and probably kill myself.
Yeah. So in contrast to that, remember when I shared that story of like
my favorite.
first time snowboarding, buddy of mine who had been snowboarding his entire life, to him It's an easy thing. So the way he decided that I would learn snowboarding is going to the top of a friggin' black diamond hill and just make my way down, and I'll learn throughout the entire way. Now, the math says that I've never done anything like that before. So doing an impossible feat, which most people spend 10 years working up towards, I did that on my first day.
Yeah.
And as you can only imagine, I failed and I hated snowboarding after that.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, after that,
But and that's what happens with business owners. So they go attempt this thing and they've made it so hard on themselves because they think, oh, I got to go challenge this. I got to go tackle this big task. And as a result, like you've now set it against you, and it actually is extremely demotivating. And so you don't want to ever do it. So it's like, guys, stop trying to go climb Mount Everest when you haven't even gone out on a local trail.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna go just fuck myself completely over.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate mountain climbing.
So your minimum effective dose on the second trigger, which is the skill to challenge ratio, is to try to rate your tasks from 1 to 10 on their difficulty. And if it's anything more than 2 on a skill to challenge ratio, then maybe break it down or ask for help.
Yeah, find a way to bring that challenge level down into that 1 or 2 range, and that will be your 4 to 6%. Okay, so let's move on to our flow trigger number 3, which is, you know what? If you don't know you're winning, you're absolutely losing. And what do I mean by that?
So flow requires some immediate feedback. If, for example, let's talk about the snowboarding thing again. If I'm failing the entire time and I don't know I'm doing good, I'm not gonna get into flow. I'm just not mentally there where it feels rewarding enough for my brain to continue getting into it deeper.
Yeah, there's going to be some immediate feedback that you need for flow, and one of the easiest ones to do, um, like for business owners, it's hard for them to like know they're actually making progress, or there's a kind of a really like they have nothing to actually give them the feedback right away, so they'll spend a lot of time doing it something and not ever knowing if it's helpful or beneficial, or they're actually on the right track. And so for this one, it's more of that when you are going and you're in your flow block, your deep work, one of the easiest ways to be able to do that is if you have your clear goals checklist. Like that is immediate feedback. You're literally just checking things off. Like, like it's a very, very fast feedback mechanism to help you get better and deeper into flow, but also like make sure you're on track.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's additional metrics and things like that, like putting those in your business to help you like get that feedback right away. So it might be like if you're making sales calls, it might be a number of calls, like call quality, all those things, right? Like how many of those are you're closing and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that, like you said, is your immediate feedback that will start fueling your brain and your flow state. Because if you have no feedback, there will be no flow.
Yeah. So the minimum effective dose for this one really, I think, is the best way is like I just said, is to when you're scheduling a deep work session, what you want to do is really set those milestones, those mini wins, which is your clear goals checklist. And that will help keep you on there all the time.
So let's move on to the last trigger, which is being concentrated. And when I say concentration, it's like deep concentration. Your phone is gonna distract you, and it's gonna kick you out of flow. Your open door policy that I know is your favorite thing to hate on is a flow killer. Your hey, let's have a quick chat or a quick question. That's a flow killer.
Well, I mean, yes, like the flow follows focus. Like you have to have focus in order to get into flow because flow is essentially being all in the present and now. And like all those things like you just mentioned are things that keep you from being able to focus. So while I used to believe that it was important to have a open door policy like that, I understood that very quickly to mean figuratively, not literally, because there are times that require you to close your door. Why? Because you need the ability to focus and concentrate. And in a world where the average business owner now gets distracted, it's every 4 to 11 minutes. and it takes on average up to 23 minutes to get back into focus, you live a perpetually distracted life. You never really get that amount of time to focus. So it's at a
Mhm.
premium. You need to create that time. So the like purposely going on your phone, having that, all that stuff in your desire to be helpful to your team and feel good about yourself because like I'm always available and you're actually destroying your most valuable asset, which is your ability to focus and concentrate.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And, your minimum effective dose on that is just block 90 minutes daily where your team understands that, they cannot just have open access to you unless it is fire, blood, or flood.
Yeah.
And, also turn off your phone, be in an area that is not easily, most people think that, going to a coffee shop to really focus on some work, it's very distracting.
It can be. I'll come back to that one. It can be because it actually used to be one of my favorite places to go because I could sensory gate around that because there's nothing in the like there was nothing in the moment. But going back to the main point of this one is look, like you have the ability to choose whether or not you're going to be distracted with things, and every choice when you allow someone to come in and ask you a question or do the things and not take that 90 minutes to focus is a choice between either being liked or being successful.
Right.
And if you're here because you want to be successful, then you have to start making better choices in that. And you will actually do more help for your team long term if you start to close your door, become less accessible because it then forces them to start to be able to problem solve. And you coach them how to problem solve. So you're accomplishing a lot more than just getting focused work done. You are creating more value in your organization as a whole because you're making better choices with your time and your energy.
Hmm. Exactly.
So, and that's really how you start to like, that's when you start to bring a lot of these four flow triggers together. Like, that's the difference of being able to get into flow and then having a really deep and powerful flow state that is going to get you there faster and you're going to stay in there deeper and longer.
Exactly. And as you mentioned, like combining all of these triggers is going to help you get those results that you're working towards. It's going to help you achieve your goals. For example, some of our clients that, had never heard about the flow state are now doing a regular 1 month, day where they're, have been, as a result, able to get 32% increase in revenue.
Yeah, that's huge. And not hiring more people, like all that stuff.
Exactly.
Like we talk about that all the time, but like this is not trivial stuff. Like this is literally when you talk about being able to scale, this is the key to the Ferrari to get out of first gear and to get out on the Autobahn and really go. Like these are all the things. And I would say with every one of these flow triggers, like the opposite is the flow blocker.
Hmm.
So we talk about clear goals. So if you don't have clear goals, so if you have really ambiguous, like that's going to block you from getting into flow.
Yeah.
For the challenge skill ratio, either it's not hard enough or it's too hard. That's going to prevent you from getting into flow.
Hmm.
Or if you don't have the immediate feedback, again, that's not going to help you get into flow.
Hmm.
If you don't know how to focus and concentrate or to block that time and really not be distracted, again, being distracted, you're not going to have focus, you're not going to have flow. So
Exactly.
like these, if you talk, these are the four horsemen of the apocalypse in terms of like, if you don't do these, but these are also kind of like the four like keys to the kingdom when it comes to how to really scale your business.
Exactly. Yeah.
So with that, the challenge we're going to issue today is really to take 90 minutes, take a 90-minute session. Try to think about, you're not going to get this right the first time, but pick one of your major constraints that you feel is happening in your business, right?
Mhm.
So if you doubled or 10x your business, like what would be the first thing to break? Is it your lead acquisition? Is it your sales pipeline? Is it your delivery? Is it your billing, your back end? Like what is it? Like I'm just using it as an example, like
Mhm.
just how to think about it. They
Yeah.
pick a constraint, take 90 minutes and take all of these four flow triggers and leverage them all together. And I think you'll be amazingly surprised of how much you actually get done. And if you want help implementing that, reach out to us.
Yep.
This is what
Do you
we
know
do.
how to get a hold of us?
Yeah. So that's what that is. Anything else you'd like to maybe? I know we talked a little bit about the whole coffee shop thing, but I say,
Yeah, I know. I feel like
okay, I say that, but I think it's more important to like the context is really important around that because one of the triggers we didn't talk about is novelty and being in a new environment introduces a little bit of novelty and novelty and Chris and I were talking about this last night where novelty is a two-edged sword. Like novelty is a flow trigger, but novelty can be a distraction.
yeah.
And so being able to the reason I would go to a coffee shop is because if I'm in the office or I'm in the building and people have access to me,
Mhm.
then they are more prone to come and ask me about things. If I'm in a coffee shop, nobody knows me. No one's going to come and talk to me,
Fair.
right?
Yeah.
But with that, I use noise canceling headphones
Mhm.
and I have novelty of the environment,
Right.
but I'm not engaging in it. And you have to be a little bit careful because if you're like visually, you get very distracted, you might get distracted more
Yeah.
often. But if you can start to sensory gate, like I was managing my environment, so I would prevent people from coming to bother me when I need to get some very specific things done,
Mhm.
and I could use that. So like like everything we talk about is very context driven.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would argue that for somebody that hasn't ever been introduced to any of those triggers, does not have an idea on how to like actually
Yes,
sensory gate and control their environment, they will very easily just find themselves be distracted. It's
yes,
like, oh, I wonder what that person's ordering. Like,
absolutely fair.
yeah,
Context
right.
is king.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
that's where I feel like if somebody's trying it for the first time and the novelty of like, oh, you know what, I've seen this in movies a lot of times where somebody's just locked in at a coffee shop and they're enjoying the environment. They've got the caffeine to help like boost
just
that
missing the nicotine.
exactly. The Alex Hormozy. But anyway, so most people that have never experienced it before is actually going to be more detrimental than it is
Yeah.
going to be beneficial.
Which, by the way, like, so we talk about sensory gating and we talk about like the non distracting. This is why we have a very simple background with just lighting behind us. And we like, there's no fancy things behind us, is because like those things, if you're listening, great. You're not worried about the visual. And you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, like, that's why there's no other visual stuff to distract. Like
Mhm.
there's a reason why we do it. It's not just, oh, you guys can't afford a studio. No, there's a very specific reason why
Yeah.
we do it this way. It's
Yeah.
because there should be there should be nothing visually distracting you from the message.
Hmm.
And it allows you to kind of focus in.
Exactly.
That's why.
Yeah.
And so with that, it's like to your point, Saad, I completely agree. If you're just starting out on this, like go find a room that has nothing in it.
Yeah.
Like not a window if you can.
Hmm.
I love when Alex Hormozy talks about going into his, like, you go into the little closet. And I remember when I was young, when I was doing bookkeeping for my father's company at the age of 12 to 15 or whatever it was, we had this little room down in our bottom floor, and it was like literally like it was almost like a cold cellar room. It was very cold, but it was just no windows, had a door and a computer, and that was it. And I would just sit there and without realizing, just have no distraction and just hammer out. And my dad was like, "How'd you get that done so fast?" I'm like, "There's literally nothing else to do in here.
Yeah.
Like I am
Exactly.
just boom, like flip through." And so I would do like a month worth of bookkeeping and just rock it out. And he was
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And now I
Yeah.
know what that is.
Yeah. I feel like there's also a kind of beauty to that. Is most people, when you have an area designated to do the job, you just mentally know that you're going to go in there to do the job. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. That was today's podcast where we talked about the 4 neuroscience triggers to help you get into flow. That's actually going to help you more than double your revenue. And if you just take those and run with those, it's going to be immensely valuable for you. And if you haven't done that before, like the challenge, go through the challenge, do it. Like just fucking do it. Don't start don't believe all of the reasons that you're telling yourself why you can't do that or why it's impossible, because guess what? Every day we prove, and all the other people that are learning flow are the day that you're allowing that competition to just take your fucking lunch money.
Mhm.
So stop believing your own bullshit, get on the train and start executing. And these are the flow triggers that are going to help you the most. So with that, we thank you for joining us. If you're new, thank you. If you've been around, like Saad's mom, love you. God bless you. Thank you so much, mom. Love you. Bless you. Like, just thank you for everyone who's been along since the very beginning of this. Like, we just appreciate your support. We appreciate those who reach out, who listen and give us feedback and give us ideas for what they're struggling with in business. So if that's you, thank you. If you have an idea, let us know. We'll be more than happy to talk about it. And so, yeah, I'm Darius,
My name is Saad.
and we are your neuroscience business coaches here at BizMeds to help you scale your business. If you learned anything, please just share it with someone. Don't be that hoe. Share that show, Andy Frisella, as he says. And yeah, remember, you're just one day away from the life you've always dreamed about. We'll see you in the next episode.